Welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Powercast, Nintendo News Daily. I am your host, N64 Josh. Before we jump into this, remember these streams are powered by Elgato, n64josh.com/Elgato. If you want to get some gear for your setup, capture cards, lighting, all the things, n64josh.com/Elgato. Coupon code N64Josh to save a little bit at checkout. Black Friday is on the way. They've already got some deals up, so make sure to check them out. Today's episode, we're going to be looking at a number of headlines, and then there's some new details on Metroid Prime 4 Beyond that come to us via a couple of trailers. One in particular, actually, shows a few new scenes that have me very, very excited and also speculating on what is happening. So good to see everybody. I see Cryptic is already here, and Byzantium, what's going on? Good morning. Glad you guys are with us. We're doing these 9:30 a.m. Monday through Friday, 9:30 Eastern. Talking Nintendo news, picking one main topic and discussing. Let's jump into this here. First up, this is from My Nintendo News. Nintendo Switch 2 sold almost 328,000 units in October and is 3% ahead of PS4 sales pace. The latest video game software and hardware charts have come through from the United States for the month of October, and the Nintendo Switch 2 was the best-selling console, shifting an additional 328,000 units. This is from Circana, which tracks sales across the USA, says that Nintendo Switch 2 is 68% ahead of the sales pace set by the original Switch and is 3% ahead of PlayStation 4's sales pace. So very good news in on that front for Switch 2 sales. I am so curious on how this holiday is going to go and how the sales are going to look when it's all said and done. Seeing some in store, was in Target last night picking up Kirby Air Rider and or Kirby Air Riders, and seeing the Mario Kart bundle still there. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of kids having a pretty amazing Christmas this year with the Switch 2. So really, really stoked to see that. I see Brandon is here. What's going on? Good to see you. Welcome on in. Holiday is going to be crazy for Switch 2, Brandon says. It is. I think it's going to be really good. Gaming since the 80s is here. What's going on? Good to see you. So this is kind of cool. I'm just now seeing this, but IGN's Mario Kart World Knockout Tour Streamer Showdown takes place next week. 24 streamers to complete I think it's supposed to be compete, but they have complete for Mario Kart domination. Article reads, this is from Nintendo Life. If you're a fan of Mario Kart based adventures, then you might be interested to learn that our friends over at IGN are hosting an upcoming Mario Kart World Knockout Tour Streamer Showdown, sponsored by Nintendo. This unique endurance event will see 24 of the UK's most famous video game and variety streamers compete in every Knockout Tour rally in Mario Kart World. This roster will include the likes of I think it's Tubbo, Lucy Flight, Matthew and Ryan, and IGN will be hosting the stream across its channels. This is pretty exciting. I want to make sure I tune into this. Honestly, I think it's going to be pretty cool. It looks like it's happening on Friday, November 28th at 7 a.m. Eastern. Okay, I might catch the recap because I'm usually at the gym at that time. So we'll see. But 8-Bit Gaming Legend is here. Good morning. Let's see. Gaming since the 80s. Today, Super Nintendo celebrates its, is it 35th anniversary? I know you wrote 25th, but I think it would be closer to 35th. I'm trying to think about the exact date. It came out in 92, right? I don't know. Give me some clarity on that one because I wanna know. But anyway, Mario Kart World Streamer Showdown. I'm looking forward to that. We got some news coming from Capcom saying more legacy characters will appear in Resident Evil Requiem. The producer confirms, but he won't say Who. I'll just read the little blurb here. It says, I would like to say that yes, there are going to be some characters from the past series to come in, but don't over expect or hype it. We can't promise you anything about that. The only thing I can say is that there will be characters that have been involved in the Raccoon City incident, involved in this game. Let's go. 35th, right on, gaming since the 80s. That's what I thought. I just figured it was a simple typo. No worries at all. So who's it going to be? Is it going to be, we're going to see Chris make a return? Jill, maybe? I'm very, very curious on who's going to show up. Who will we see? I'm looking forward to this Resident Evil, honestly. And I was looking on the eShop. You can, they're selling that like the 3-pack that all have game key cards, but you can get the same pack digitally, which to me, that's the route I'm going to go. So the route I'll be going is digitally on these ones, since they are game key cards. But I'm really, really stoked for this. Cool finding out there's going to be some other cast members making their way to Resident Evil Requiem. Well, Pokemon Legends ZA was the best-selling Nintendo game in October. It's the best-selling physical game in the US this year. Last week, we heard how Pokemon Legends ZA had become the best-selling physical game of the US. This comes to us via Nintendo Life. Now, in another update, Circana's video game industry analyst Matt Piscatella has shared official chart data for this same location, confirming the new entry in the long-running series was the best-selling game on the Nintendo platforms in October 2025. This does not factor in the digital sales of the title. It replaced Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2 in the top spot, and Donkey Kong Bonanza remains in third place. So there you go. Like, Pokemon selling like crazy. Not that anybody is surprised. Steak is here. Army Life is here. What's going on? Welcome on in. Good to see you guys. The footage you're seeing on screen, Army Life, is from Metroid Prime Remastered. Yeah, it's from Metroid Prime Remastered. So I'm not sure which directory I'm in on Twitch, because I literally just go to Restream and it pushes it to Twitch, and I don't see which directories or anything like that. So he says, I know this isn't Animal Crossing. You are not wrong. You're not wrong. Love that. Well, Kirby Air Riders players, we talked about this last night a little bit. Kirby Air Riders players are creating micro bikini machines, but Nintendo's having none of it. So yeah, this is the exact picture that was in my video that's on the Nintendo Life article here. And it's just like a little happy little critter in a bikini. And I'm like, what is this? Apparently though, VGC has since confirmed that this design too has been removed after it became the most expensive machine on the marketplace. However, a third is supposedly rising up the ranks rapidly, this time featuring Bikini Kawasaki holding 2 pans. So, it it never ceases to amaze me, the kind of creativity that we will see from people when given the opportunity to create whatever they want. I've already seen from Twitter alone just some crazy designs when it comes to these machines, and I'm sure there's no sign of stopping. Outside of these funny bikini machines, there's some machines that literally transform and they have 2 different pictures on them, which to me is kind of crazy, is kind of wild. So you know what, Steaks dropping the facts right now. Says the same company that had Love Hotels can't stand for bikini machines. LOL. You're not wrong. Cryptic says Nintendo doesn't like waifus. Apparently not. Moving along here, Game of the Year nominee Donkey Kong Bonanza wins Critics' Choice Award. So, Golden Joysticks, the recipient of this year's Critics' Choice Award is to Donkey Kong Bonanza, a barrel load of congratulations to at Nintendo of Europe. And this is pretty awesome to see. Like, I'm glad to see Donkey Kong is winning some awards, right? Nominated Game of the Year. Whether or not it can pull it off, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It's gonna be it's tough competition this year. But it is great to see that it is winning different awards along the way. I'll be real. I'm a little sad Mario Kart's not up for more awards, but I think at the end of the day, Nintendo left a bit on the table with it, unfortunately, and there will be more to come. But I would love to see it more in the conversation. But I think it fell a little bit flat for a lot of people, which is super super unfortunate. So. Taking a look here, Donkey Kong Bonanza was also up for Ultimate Game of the Year and Console Game of the Year at the same event. Voting for these categories was open to the public. Claire Obscure, Expedition 33 took out the Ultimate Award, and Sony's Ghost of Yotai won Console category. The PlayStation exclusive also beat Mario Kart World in the same category. Yeah. Yep. Question from Gaming Since the 80s says, as much as I love Nintendo, I don't understand how they don't want adult themes in their games. They had Conker's Bad Fur Day, which had adult themes left and right. Yeah. Very true. Very true. They've it seems like they've somewhat shifted to focus even more so on the being family entertainment. And because we saw games like Killer Instinct, Perfect Dark had that M rating. There were a handful, especially when Rare was at the at creating a lot of these games, and they have definitely shifted to be more about that family friendly, family entertainment. And I mean, it's working, but I do know there are a number of us fans out here that wouldn't mind them seeing some more mature themed games and products. I've you guys have heard me say it before. I think if Metroid could become, like to the levels of like Halo and potentially hit that mature rating, I wonder if it would do better numbers. Wonder if it would be good for it. Not being in that teen category, but hitting that mature category, maybe becoming scarier, leaning more into the game or the movies that inspired it, the Alien movies, and getting those jump scares in there, getting creatures that are maybe a little bit more scary. Xenoblade has some adult themes. That's a good point as well. So Army Life says, wish Nintendo had achievements. I would love that. Steak is correct. Yeah, Conker's was made by Rare. Absolutely. And not Nintendo themselves. So definitely lost something when we lost Rare. No question. Cryptic says at least in storytelling. Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, the latest Pokemon game surprised me with some of the things that were in that story. And I mean, that's good. I'm here for it. But we often always hear that, oh, Pokemon's just a kid game, and it was like, well, they're dealing with some interesting things in that game to be just a kid's game. So this is another article from Nintendo Life. Vampire Survivors getting a bonkers looking dungeon crawler spin-off. And so what is Vampires Crawlers about? That's what the little blurb is saying here. I'm just going to take a quick peek at the video. I don't know if they're showing in-game footage or if it's just some kind of a trailer. It looks very next gen and not at all the pixel art that we're used to. I'm sure it's just for the trailer because now there's literally they switched it back to the regular Vampire Survivors look, and it's somewhat 3D. It looks like, but also very much Vampire Survivors. It looks like the old like Doom and Wolfenstein games, like from back on the PC, like way back in the day. And but it's a dungeon crawler. It looks like they're mixing in some of like card games as well. This is probably going to be absolutely fantastic. Really cool to see that them working on some new stuff. This is from the Steam page. It says, "What is Vampire Crawlers all about? Snowballing, turn-based carnage. Play cards in ascending mana order to land combos. Each step multiplies the next card effect. Use wilds to extend the stack and keep going to 10, 20, 30. Can you reach infinite? Pick your pace, either take your time or be tactical or play turns as fast as you humanly can. The outcome is always accurate. Deck building, accumulate experience and level up to gain new cards. Headbutt chests for customization gems and power-ups. Chase weapon evolutions and summon survivors to trigger cascade of effects and break the game. Dungeon crawling, explore dungeons packed with something seldom seen in Vampire Survivors, functioning walls, and then all sorts of unique treasures and interactions. Find the shovel to dig into the next floor that will likely take place in the clouds." So I'm trying to see if there is a date here. It looks like, so it says Ponicle is spreading its wings and today announced a spin-off to Vampire Survivors called Vampire Crawlers, the turbo wild card from Vampire Survivors. That's the whole name, guys. Vampire Crawlers, the turbo wild card from Vampire Survivors. Like, what? Coming to Switch 2026. So we do have a date there. So I love that. Love that. So backing up just a bit here, taking a look at some of the chats. Gaming Since the 80s says they could make Bikini Suit Samus instead of Zero Suit. Well, I mean, go back and check out videos of the old Metroid games. In fact, I'll make one today. You were rewarded by more and more of her armor coming off the faster you beat the game and got through the the timer on the game and like how quickly you did the final part of the game. I think it was tied to a couple different things. So that was, the very 80s of them for sure. Steak says, I'd like for Nintendo to not just focus on family-oriented games. Pokemon 2, they seem to continually focus on entry level, which is why I was hoping Legend series could be more advanced level ones. I love that. I love that thought. And I honestly I did have a bit higher expectations for ZA as far as like maybe moving that direction a little bit, being a bit more like Xenoblade as far as the combat and whatnot. But it's still pretty pretty basic, which is, it's good for kids. Don't get me wrong. But I'm with you. I would like to see some of these series mature just a bit more. Crimson says, any thought on if the OG formula would still review well today? Not just carried from the name alone of the remaster. Are we talking Metroid, Crimson? I think so. Let me know. I think that's I think because we're watching the remaster right now, maybe that's what we're talking about. Army Life says, if Nintendo could implement an achievement system like PlayStation has trophies, gives the fan base reason to play games, or newcomers buying the Switch. Yeah, that's I love that little extra carrot dangling on the stick. That's fantastic. And Gaming Since the 80s wants to know my personal game of the year. It is, well, it's probably going to be Metroid Prime 4 unless they somehow really, really fumble this one. But as of right now, Mario Kart World for me is my game of the year. When it comes to what's being shown at the Game Awards, Donkey Kong would be my game of the year. But that's only because it's the one that I've played all the way through. But I had a great time with it. Same kind of scenario as Odyssey. A smile on my face the whole time. So it was fantastic in my mind. So Crimson's asking about the OG formula of Metroid, if I think that would still review well today. I think that's a good question. And I think it's one of those interesting scenarios where it's like you need to move the series forward. For instance, like like take Star Wars when they did the Force Awakens. I think there were a lot of fans that just wanted to, because it had been so long, that they wanted a bit more of like just more of what the first three movies were, which were fantastic. Don't get me wrong, like they're great, but you do have to move the series, and so it's a matter of trying to move it in a way that is going to keep the original fan base happy while bringing new fans in, and that's a tricky thing to do. It's a tricky thing to do, and when you're coming back to a series that hasn't seen a sequel in 18 years, I don't know if I think part of the reason, we kind of mentioned it a little bit last night on the show, but I think part of the reason that Metroid Prime did so well is because it was coming off the heels of Super Metroid. Super Metroid was fantastic, and it basically, part of the draw was getting to experience Metroid in first person for the first time. But now that's not there. Like there's Super Metroid's not there. To a certain extent, I'm hoping that Dread, if people experience Dread for the first time, will want to then experience Prime 4 in first person. And so I don't know that the original formula would review as well. I think a lot of it would depend on boss fights, power-ups, and they still have to tell some kind of a story. And I'm not sure, like, I also think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of people are assuming that it's gonna stray so far from the original formula. I don't know that that's really going to be the case. I think it's still like Johnny has said multiple times, Johnny Bo, it still very much feels like Metroid. The worlds, the exploration, it's just there's the tutorial after you do the main, like the opening story, which is pretty common. That's very Metroid Prime also. So I don't know that we're straying too far from it. If it was identical, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it would do as well or not. It's a really good question. Gaming since the 80s says the problem with many games today is that they look for an audience that is not playing video games while ignoring the old school gamers like you and me. I mean, there's that is a thing for sure. Like it's all about finding that balance of keeping your player base happy while bringing new people into the fold. So I see Hay is here. What's going on? Welcome on in. So yeah, it's all. I mean, they're all great questions and great points, you guys. All right. Well, we're gonna get into our main topic, which is we got a few new details. They're minor things, but I'm pretty excited by what was shown this morning, and we'll wrap with this real quick before we switch to the next topic. Crimson says it's 98% Metroid DNA and at worst 80% classic gameplay, in my opinion. That's probably accurate, honestly, which is why I'm not worried. I'm not worried, and I'm you know I may be the ideal, like the target audience for this game, and that based on, like, if you start reading comments, it's like uh made for my age group is what some of the comments are saying. So, but I mean, again, you're it's a piece of media that has to be that has to appeal to a very broad audience, and this is a series that ultimately, compared to Nintendo stuff, is niche, is kind of niche. So I'm again, I am definitely their target audience for this one, and I couldn't be more excited. And I'm excited to talk more about it. So let's jump into it. Okay, well, I've had this trailer on on repeat here next to me. I'm going to throw it up on screen here so you guys can see it. And we're going to get rid of this one here. There we go. So this is a new trailer. This is from Japan. And there's a few new shots here. Now, we are seeing like the Marines again, but look, you're seeing them fight. This scene I was talking about last night, you're seeing them with their backs against the wall, fighting together against an onslaught. That gets me very, very excited. That looks really, really cool to me. Like I love that. I love that. It also seems to me that these guys are going to be not like, I don't think they're going to be as helpless as Miles. They seem to be trying to save themselves. And then like I can't wait to see how that little scene right there plays out, where their backs are against the wall and they are, yeah, you're trying to take out as many of these monsters coming in at the same time. Some new things here that like I don't know what we're seeing exactly, but they're definitely new to this trailer. You're going to see some object kind of flying around Samus right here. I'm assuming some kind of a power up. Maybe it's a key of some kind. We don't know. We don't know at this point. But I'm curious if it's, weapon upgrade, armor, whatever the case may be. This other scene coming up right here, you're going to see that like they're on a ship that looks like it's kind of almost like I don't know if it's some kind of like, I mean, obviously it looks like a sky train of some kind. I don't know how else to put it. And you can see it shooting across at the other ship. So curious on what's going on here. Like this trailer just does all of these quick cuts, shows us just a few of these set pieces. I want to know what's going on. The other thing we see is it looks like Silux is emitting this large energy burst. You can see that as well. And I want to know what's happening there. Like this trailer has done such a great job. The more I've watched it, I've literally had it running through this whole show. I'm left very, very intrigued, and I want to know what are we doing? What is shooting? Why is Silux coming out like that? I want to make sure this is Silux. Let's see. I'm gonna rewind and try to pause here. Why is he coming out holding his head? That's definitely him. Is this the crew that is with Samus? So there he is getting ready to emit this energy blast. It's also a green blast. And if you go back to the scenes right before that, what is this object? It's also got some kind of green energy coming off of it. It's emitting a green light onto her. And so like, is this something that they're both chasing after? And I really, really want to understand, why is he coming out of this ship like holding his head? Like, does he crash land on the planet? Like, it seems to me from what I've gathered, you get teleported to the new to this planet, but then we're seeing Silux there, so he had to track her down somehow. So there's a lot of story elements that we don't yet know, that I'm so excited to learn. So excited to learn. I want to look like, so here. So I assume this was kind of in the sky, but now looking at it a little bit closer and having it paused, it could be underground. It could be like a subway. I assumed just from the initial glance that these were both on rails, but it looks like this is another ship completely. And I wonder if it's Silux's ship. Like, I don't know if we really see it when he's like, we can see him landing right there, but that's the front of the ship, not the back. And then he's just on this platform. So, and I do want to rewind. I want to just see real quick if we can spot if that's Miles. I think it might be. This looks like Miles. So this could be much later in the game after everybody's back together, and he might even wipe them out potentially. So really, like, again, not a ton. They're not given a ton when it comes to any more details about this game, but I'm loving the way they're teasing it. The marketing's working on me, but obviously it didn't even need to work. I was picking this up no matter what. So I'm hoping that people end up liking these other characters more so than Miles. I can't wait to watch how this story unfolds. I'm more hyped over this short little trailer than I was even before I saw it. Like, really, really hyped. So I'm going to grab a few comments here and then we will wrap this up. Let's see. Gaming Says 80 says, is Metroid Prime 4 for the Switch 1 backwards compatible with the Switch 2? When I pre-ordered, I was asked if I want the Switch 1 or Switch 2. So you can, if you get Switch 1, you can get the upgrade pack for to make it run smoother on your Switch 2. Crimson says, I wonder if the new suit they show is the amiibo suit. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I wonder that also. Gaming since the 80s. Imagine Silex turned out to be the evil clone of Samus, which the Chozo created by mistake. Ooh, that'd be interesting for sure. Byzantium says, I just want to play Metroid Prime 4 miles at this point. IGN's reverse psychology worked. There you go. I love it. Well, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you happen to pick it up on Spotify, you can leave a comment there as well. I appreciate you guys jumping in and hanging out. You are the best. And as always, play it loud.